In this video, I keep ascending through the A rankings and moving up in my driver rating, as patience pays good dividends in this race. Watch and see how it plays out. Welcome to the channel. This is Geauxgreddy, your 2018-2019 SCCA Senla Region F Street Autocross Champion and Gran Turismo Sport Sim Racer. Stick around, watch the video. Maybe you'll pick up some tips, and if you do, I ask that you hit that like, and if you really like the video, I ask that you smash that subscribe. And we pick up here at the end of my qualifying lap as I finish 4th, or so I think, until the pole sitter comes ripping around in his Volkswagen Bug and knocks me down a spot to 5th. So we start off qualifying in 5th position. Let's go ahead and check out that starting grid. Thank you, my dearest sweet opera lady. Oh, thank you so much. Because that denotes the start of my favorite thing, which is race time. Yes, indeed. And look who is up front, our number 2 ranked driver in the Volkswagen Beetle. Armored 34. Congrats on the pole with a 306.904. Very well done. Dabble D's in second with a 308.117. Force 48, another bug with a 308.889. Good job, Force. Mr. Q41 in 4th with a 309.073. Raced him in a lobby the other night. And there I am, Geauxgreddy in 5th with a 309.301. Not my best qualifying time, but it'll work. In 6th is Orma Bixiglass with a 309.447. In 7th, we got Bizzle 5 with a 309.816. In 8th, with the 6th ranked driver, Charlet with a 309.816. Then we got a Dodge Viper with DNA Hoodka, the 309.977, and there he is, the UOP driver, Kelso, with a 310.136. In 11th, Nettles 99 and his Porsche 911 with a 310.421. And I want to be S. Pruitt, way back in 12th with a 310.687. Surprised to see that. Resist Rise in the Ferrari in 13th with a 310.728. In 14th, we've got Shell Shock 105 and the Chevy Corvette with a 310.862. And then in the Hyundai, we got McLaren. McLaren in the Hyundai. It's so confusing, but he's got a 311. And Closer, we can see him, so he's still not going the speed of light. Sorry, Closer. Or is it Closer? I don't know. Shifter 125cc is in 19th in his BMW. Behind him, we got Billy Grippo and the Mitsubishi with a 314.095. In 19th, we got another Lexus driver with LOA FDEJ, the 319.972. And last but not least, Lisa Salters with a 323.953. So, quite a few folks in the lobby that I've been racing with a lot lately, whether it be in the FIA Manufacturers Series, which I race pretty much exclusively because I don't have time to do nations and manufacturers, as I'm a family man and I also have a real life job. So this is my nightly hobby that I like to do to kind of kick back and relax after the kids go to bed. And so these folks I've been racing with, and whether practice lobbies, Mr. Q41 in front of us right here is a perfect example of that as we start the race in P5. And right here, braking nice and early, just gonna roll into the gas, not kill my tires, and just stay in Mr. Q41 slipstream. So in my practice lobbies, and in the video intro, I said this was a test of my patience. In the practice lobbies, I had a very big problem with wanting to go fast through all these sweeping corners, and it was absolutely mauling my tires. So I was braking late, I was getting on the gas early, I was pushing and sliding, and well, quite honestly, just flying all over the place. And so the last practice race, I said, you know what, I'm just going to kind of chill out and just not drive so hard and see how that works. And it worked better. So what I decided to do was, and Mr. Q41 whipped my tail in one of these races. So I said, you know what, Mr. Q41 is faster than I am in his Toyota. And so I'm just going to hang out in this dude's slipstream and just let him keep sucking me up front. Because if I make a mistake in the corner, but I'm still within that 0.8 of a second, I can just stay up there in the front with Mr. Q41. Now right there, I almost fell out of the slipstream. I fell back to, let's see, it was about 0.86 seconds. I got a little worried there for a second, but I made a good corner on the next run and was able to catch back up to him and get back in that very valuable slipstream. So again, I have no desire to pass him. I mean, I have a desire to pass him, but really my plan is hopefully that he stays in Force 4A's slipstream, and then I can just hang out behind him and they can both just suck me along. And then hopefully I save enough tires in by lap 5 of the final lap that I can maybe make a move on 1 or 2 people. I have, unless P1 or P2 just makes a dire error. I've done enough of these practice races to know I'm not going to catch those dudes. The pole sitter was like 2 seconds a lap faster than me. So the likeliness of catching him are slim to none. And then Dabble D's wasn't too far behind him with like a 307. I've run a 307 one time in the no tire wear practice lobby. So again, I'm under no delusion that I'm going to run him down either. So really my race is with 3 and 4, Force 4A and Mr. Q41. And most importantly, I don't want the dude behind me catching up with me. So if I get in a door-to-door race with Mr. Q41 on this track, all it's going to do is bring in 6th, 7th, and 8th even closer. And as you watch as this race goes along, you'll see we pretty much break up into like about 3 to 4 different groups. You have 1st and 2nd places running off on their own. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we'll just kind of hang out here together through the mid laps. And then 5th, 6th, 7th, on, down, back, I don't know, probably till 9th or 10th, 11th. They're in a little grouping, and then they got a little grouping behind them. So we have all these little clusters of people that are kind of hanging out in the slipstream. I do not want to bring that group back up to me. So it does not behoove me to get in a door-to-door race on this track with the way my tire wear is early in this race. So as we go into lap 2, I sit here in 5th position, and I'm watching as the time differential between me and Charlet slowly gets larger. And that's making me happy. As long as I keep him out of my slipstream, I am happy. Because what I'm trying to do is what a lot of people would call slow in, fast out. I mean, there's really no such thing as slow in, fast out. There's fast in, fast out. And then there's slow in and not as fast out. And I say that because if you actually take the corner properly, and this is a little bit of autocross tip for you, if you take the corner properly, you're actually maximizing the traction of your tires as you're braking and turning the wheel. So your tires only have so much friction that they can handle before they break free and you go, understeering off into the sand trap. So you're trying to transition your braking into the gas pedal. And that should be a very smooth transition on most corners. Now, there are some corners that are so long that you may be at constant speed. And when that happens, you want to take the tightest line on a flat surface, if it's not a bank surface. If you have a bank surface, it changes everything completely. We're not going to talk about that. We have very few bank surfaces like Big Banky Boy at Maggiore and the bank tracks, which we rarely ever run. But for the most part, we're on flat surfaces. So if you're on a constant speed, take a tight line. I call it the autocross line. If you're coming into a corner like this one, you want to mash on the brake pedal, ease off of it, turn the wheel and add gas. As you add gas, you should be straightening out the wheel because your tires can only take so much in terms of lateral or accelerating forces. So, when you brake for a tight left-hander or a 90-degree or something like that, you obviously want to slow down the car to where you can start to add steering. And as you add steering and make the corner and make the apex is where you're transitioning from not applying gas to applying gas. If you hit a corner perfectly, like if you watch the Aliens race, when they go into the corner, you think, oh my gosh, they get on the gas so early. So what they're doing is they're getting on the brakes, they're easing off of the brake pedal, and as they hit that apex, they're mashing that gas pedal, and they are full throttle all the way out of that corner and letting the car ride all the way out to the other side of the curbing. They're using all of that track. And even though I know that that's what you're supposed to do, and I know the theory behind it, and I know the physics behind it, it's still hard as hell to do. It's just not easy. So the aliens are the people that can just maximize that corner speed. Their turn-ins at the right spot, their braking's at the right spot, they hit the gas pedal at the right spot, they see the exit, and they accelerate out and use all of the track given to them. They get every dollar's worth of that track space out of it. So that's how they're able to go 4, 5, 6 seconds a lap faster on a track like this, because they're just able to really honestly maximize the physics allowed of your tires. So anyway, so that is a nerdy autocross tip of the race. So, but I am doing, like I said, what I'm calling slow in, fast out. So I'm actually slowing down a little more than I should, and coming out the corner not as quite as fast as I could be in order to save some tires. And I'm able to do that because Mr. Q41 is affording me his slipstream. So I'm saving tires at his expense, because when I come out, I'm in the slipstream, so I have less air friction to overcome. So I'm able to keep up with him, who he is, if you're watching him, he's actually using more of the track than I am, and he is using a little more tire than I am. So I'm hoping this strategy will work. So I hang out here on Mr. Q41's rear bumper for about the next lap and a half. So let's go ahead and forward on to lap 5, where the excitement starts to happen, or, well, the only excitement starts to happen. Okay, after I snorted, I also lied. It's not the only exciting part of the race. This I thought was also a little bit thrilling, if you may. It's not really thrilling, but so I enter the hardest, what I think is the hardest corner on the track. It's just a very oddly shaped corner, and I get a quite a bit better exit than Mr. Q41 here. So I'm coming up hard on him, and it's really an awkward place to pace a pass, because this corner up here is a very high speed corner. So I made that smart life decision here, once again pulling out and saving myself for another day. So I was proud of myself there, not pushing that move, staying behind Mr. Q and not sending it. Again, I've got a 1.8 second lead on 6th place. I'm in a good, comfortable 5th place position with a lap to go. I'm feeling really good about my tire wear, and I'm feeling like I'm starting to find that I'm having a little more speed in the corners than Mr. Q41. So I'm hoping that in lap 5 I can take advantage of that and maybe possibly make a pass. But I'm going to save it for lap 5. Let's see what happens. All right, so here we are on lap 5, and you can see I'm about 2 to 3 tenths off the rear bumper of Mr. Q41. About a 2 second lead over DNA Hoodka, who's been battling pretty hard with Orma Bixiglass the whole race behind me. Those positions behind me shifted quite a bit. So if any of those did a YouTube channel, their race was probably a little more interesting than mine was. You may want to go check them out. I have no idea if any of them have a YouTube channel or not, but if they do, go check them out. So, so as you can see right here, I think I forced an unforced error on Mr. Q41. He was maybe a little concerned with the speed I was carrying on his bumper, or maybe not. Maybe he just made a mistake. Regardless, I took advantage of it right there. I was able to hold it to the inside with the better wear I think that I had on my tires, and he slips in behind me, rightly so, and tries to jump back on my slipstream. As you can see, with his dirty tires, he is struggling to make that corner, and he's falling back. So, going off track, getting those dirty corners, those dirty tires this late in the race is brutal. You've already got your tire wear on lap 5, and it just compounds. So that didn't help him. So he falls back out of the slipstream, and right here, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I can't lie. I'm really happy. I'm in 4th. I have a solid, lead on 5th place, who's out of the slipstream. St Croix A is, he's up there 3 seconds ahead. I'm not going to catch him. So I'm not pressing hard to run anybody down. I just need to maintain the distance between me and Mr. Q41 and just continue driving those smooth lines, and I'm going to bring home a 4th place. So, 4th ranked in the lobby, qualified 5th, a 4th place finish would have 0 complaints from me. So The rest of the crew's trying to chase me down. You got 5th, 6th, and 7th still, within striking distance if I make a mistake. I'm somewhat within striking distance of Force 4A if he does something foolish. As we come around here on this tight S curve, slowest part of the track, don't want to make a mistake here, and that is exactly what Mr. Q41 does. He makes a mistake there. In the rearview mirror, I saw he got out. The rear end got loose on him, and he got hit by DNA Hoodka. Orma Bixie Gas passes both of them. So does Shell Shock 105, and then DNA, and the rest had to kind of scamper to get back in position. Throughout this race, I was kind of wondering when Kelso would come flying up on my rear end, because usually he is running me down in the final laps of this race in the practice lobbies, but he also had a little bit of trouble with the rear end stepping out on him in the final lap. Of course, he was back there in the pack doing all that door-to-door racing. So coming around the final curve, heading towards the finish line, going to wrap this race up with a nice P4 behind Force 4A. Congrats to you, sir. You had a good race. Also like to thank Mr. Q41 for all the slipstream assistance. Couldn't have finished where I did without you, sir. So good job to you. Sorry you had that mishap there at the end. That stinks. You had a good race up to that point. And congrats to Armored, who had the victory. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope maybe you picked up a tip or two from all the rambling I did at the front of the video. And if you did, hey, I ask you, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and come back and check out another video. So for myself, Geauxgreddy, I am signing out, and y'all have a great evening.